What's up, nerds and nerdettes? It's AJ, and welcome back to another episode of The Pull. This was a pretty stacked week for comic books. Image continues to basically be abusive with the number of cool new series they're launching, pretty much guaranteeing that I'm going to go broke. My only hope is that we enter some sort of post-apocalyptic state where comic books become the new currency, like the bottle caps in Fallout. Anyway, a lot of books to get to, so let's comic books go. So after a long hiatus, Manhattan Projects has finally returned. I might be a little bit excited about that. Maybe. Manhattan Projects is crazy in all the right ways. If you're not reading it, you can't really jump on. You kind of have to go back to the beginning and start. But go buy the trades right now. I don't care what you need to do to make it financially possible that you do it. Mortgage your house. Sell your blood. But I recommend selling someone else's blood. It's easy. All you need is an empty pickle jar and a straw. Regardless of how you pay for it, you need to be reading Manhattan Projects. It's just too much fun. John Hickman has created a world that's basically a sci-fi channel movie, where the atom bomb was really just a cover for a much more diabolic scientific agenda. It takes real-world historical characters and basically makes them Batman villains. Now, Jonathan Hickman has a out-of-control runaway train for a mind. He's constantly bombarded with ideas and crazy plot twists and big scenarios, all kind of wrapped in with this very poetic prose. And then some of his independent work that can get away from him, and that really started to happen in Manhattan Projects. His universe became very crowded and convoluted, and it had a lot of really intertwined different sort of mini stories going on at the same time. This book went on hiatus to sort all that out, and Hickman needs to be given a lot of credit for being able to analyze his own work and see where the more imperfect elements of it were. So Manhattan Projects is back with a much more focused sort of storytelling. This is one of the best series out there, and if you're not on it, correct yourself right now before I come to your house and do it for you. Invisible Republic was one of those books that I had seen advertised a lot in the back of the 500 other Image books that I read, but I really hadn't paid much attention to it. It was a gloriously pleasant surprise. Invisible Republic is the sequel to every single space opera ever written. The rebellion has been successful and Space Hitler is dead. The story follows a journalist who is documenting displaced refugees from this big galactic war. The main character comes in possession of the diary of the cousin of Space Hitler, and it allows him to look back at the life of this, tyrannical despot through a different point of view, and we get just the slightest taste of what that journal might contain and what this series is going to show us in future issues. And it teases that that's going to be the focus of the story. It's a really interesting setup because it takes a look at tyrants through history and kind of shows us the underside of that, the human side of that, the part that a lot of us as just normal everyday citizens kind of refuse to acknowledge ever existed. So there's a lot of potential in this book. It's really well handled, it's really well written. This dude's a good writer. Talking is fucking impossible. Red One was a book that I was really happy that I just happened to spontaneously buy. So Red One, every time I say Red One, I always want to say Big Red One, which I think was one of the subtitles to the World War II Call of Duty games. So if I say that, feel free to take a drink every time I fuck up the title of this book. We follow a Soviet spy named Vera, who's been training her whole life to be, Russian Captain America with boobs. This takes place in 1977, right in the meat of the Cold War. The fucking Soviets get all bent out of shape because there's this pastor in America named Jackie Core who's basically running around being a huge cunt, telling everyone that pornography is bad and no one should ever have any fun. And she gets all this support because there's this big wave of Puritanism at this time, and it looks like she's going to run for president and win president. This gets the fucking Soviet Union all bent out of shape. They don't want fucking Puritan, commie-hating person as president. And Jackie Core has gathered a lot of her support because all the targets of her criticism in the porn industry or other people that she just thinks are kind of dicks are miraculously getting killed by this Batman-like murder vigilante named the Carpenter. So as the Carpenter gets more popular, she gets more popular. They send Vera over to America to become an even more popular superhero and suck all the support away from Core and the Carpenter. The idea that the Soviet Union would put a secret red spy into a position that Americans worship like a superhero is kind of rife with irony and opportunity to take a story in a bunch of different directions. Also the idea of, different governments creating sort of false heroes to manipulate people is also a really kind of interesting way to take a story too. The big and near fatal issue with Big Red 1 is the way it portrays its own hero. Vera is this strong, beautiful, physically impressive woman who has all these big achievements, and she exists in a genre that's often lacking for those kind of characters. And the creators take every opportunity they can to objectify her and exploit her sexuality. She's constantly throwing out sexual innuendos and doing these like pin-up poses where she sticks her butt out and shows her boobies, or she'll bang a stranger on an airplane. What the writers did was they created a really strong female role model for people and then had her seductively eat a banana for 10 pages. Did I do it right? This book has a lot of really smart, big ideas that it could do some really special things with, but I have a funny feeling that its own libido is going to marginalize it. This is me being done with Eternal. I wish I still bought physical comic books. That way I could take Eternal #3 and throw it into an angry drunk blender that's on fire. But I read everything digitally now on my tablet, and I can't throw this away. I need it. It's got all the other good comic books on it, and it's also my window to porn. It is so full of really smart, interesting, big science fiction ideas, and at every single turn, it takes the most cliche and easy science fiction story route. It has a really cool idea. Life is eternal, you can constantly replace yourself with a clone, but that's only for certain people because it has a negative effect on society as a whole. What happens to society? What do we do? Well, the government ends up turning evil, and there's a resistance, and they're the good people that we're supposed to root for. Oh, is the resistance full of likable characters that have endearing big ideas about what the greater world is? No, they're actually kind of unlikable and just angry. If I see promise in a book, I'll give it 3 issues. That gives plenty of time for it to stretch out, to kind of figure out what it is that comic books do. This book now had 3 issues, and for 3 issues, it has continued to fumble its own ideas. You've been de-pulled. I don't know what the fuck that was. Well, that'll do it for another episode of The Pull. As always, thanks you guys for stopping by and listening to me rant incoherently about comic books or things that vaguely have to do with comic books. We've been producing a lot of other content in Video Game Time Machine. I really encourage you to check out a lot of our other stuff. If you sort of enjoy the tone of this show, you're probably going to enjoy a lot of the other stuff we make too. If you like the stuff we're doing, you want to keep up to date with all the new projects we got going on, go ahead and follow me on Twitter. For every new subscriber we get, I will travel back in time and make one significant change to your life. Basically, I'm going to travel back in time and bang your mom. I'm your real dad. Anyway, make sure you come back next week and every week till the end of time for more episodes of The Pull. Now get out of here and go read comics.